baby, it's cold outside, which means that it's the perfect temperature for January football in Western New York. Welcome to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and welcome to the Mafia Minute. I am Magnum Mills here with Jamie G, and we are breaking down and previewing the Bills Divisional Round matchup at home on Sunday against the Ravens. We are excited for that, and we're excited that you're checking out the Mafia Minute presented by Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. You can find our content wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. You can find us on social media at Seize the Gap FF and on the World Wide Web at MafiaMinute.com. Nice and simple to remember, just like the flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please make sure that you've hit the thumb. Jamie G, as always, I'm going to ask you how you're feeling going into this one. I know it's a daunting matchup here, but you got to keep the faith, right? You got to keep the faith. How are you feeling going into this huge matchup?
You gotta believe, brother. And that's right where I'm at, man. Look, I'm so happy that we have a home playoff game in the divisional round of the playoffs. That in and of itself is awesome. We dominated last week in the wild card round. Now it's time. The stakes get higher, the task gets tougher, and we got a juggernaut coming in. And I'm feeling like I usually do in these big games against a really good opponent. I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. And while I think this is a tough matchup for any team in the league to take on a red hot Ravens team, there's a chance, right? The Bills have a chance to win this one. They've got some things going their way. Most notably, you, Bills Mafia. They have you. They have you at home in that stadium going nuts, getting after them and getting back at them for what happened in week 3. I'm feeling all right, Mills. I'm not, hey, this is a slam dunk. I'm going to kick back and relax. Yeah, it's going to be a dogfight, but we got a chance.
Yeah, I wouldn't believe you if you said, yeah, I wouldn't believe the false confidence. So I like you're playing it really real. And I think that is the absolute way to do it. That's how we roll here on the Mafia Minute. Before we get into the game preview, let's check in on the Bills on parade, see if there is any of news of note or anything that's not directly related to the game. JBG, this is probably slightly related to the game, but it's fun on a couple of levels here. Buffalo Pizzeria, local pizzeria over in Transit Town Plaza. Pesci's Pizza and Wings, again, just great name. We were big Joe Pesci fans, so you're already off to a bonus starting with a name like Pesci's Pizza and Wings. But they had a Facebook deal here. If you do an online pre-order for a large pizza and 20 wings between Tuesday and Thursday, you get refunded if the Bills lose. So they are putting their money where their mouth is, or the food where their mouth is. If you want to do that, check them out on the web, and you have to use the promo code Josh4MVP. So I figured that would be right up your alley. A lot of stuff to like in that one. And the other piece of news probably isn't something to like as much, but it is what it is. Baltimore sports writer Jerry Coleman provided the Bills some bulletin board material when he referred to his previous comments, I think from 2019, a couple of years back, where he referred to Buffalo as a city of losers, called them out for only having the two major sports teams. Did say we have better wings, but just said we are a city of losers. Jamie G, you tell him to go get buried in the pit or something, right? You should watch that. It's good bulletin board material, at least if nothing else.
It really is, and I think that that's you say that you could end up like Joe Pesci in Casino out in the desert somewhere, and I'm not a fan of it. There's no reason for it, and what I'm mostly disappointed in here is it wasn't a Baltimore player, it wasn't the coach, but one thing I didn't like was how the coach responded to it. The coach gave him a spotlight to say it again, laughed at it, and then said, "I'm not going to comment. I'm going to move on." I just found that to be just lacking class. I thought John Harbaugh had more class than that. If the role was reversed and there was a Buffalo News beat reporter that said something horrible about Baltimore, and there's plenty of bad things you can say about the city of Baltimore, I think Sean McDermott would have put that to bed right away and not given it a platform. Certainly not smiled and laughed at it, and it would have handled it with a lot more class. So that's fine. Let him talk. The reality is we haven't won a Super Bowl yet. And until we do, that's going to be the narrative. I'm pretty sure our players and our coaching staff knows that. I'm pretty sure they're focused on doing whatever they got to do to win this one.
And we all know it's not a true class act unless you have kid and play. And I see neither kid nor play. There's not even foreplay. So there's just no class act going on
There's
whatsoever. But
not.
maybe there will be a house party, a pajama jammy jam. That's what we're doing. We're getting into the game preview, but we're not putting on the PJs just yet, but we are having a party. Let's kick things off with the tail of the tape, see what we are working with here. This is the 12 and 5 Baltimore Ravens traveling to Orchard Park, New York to face the 13 and 4 Buffalo Bills in the divisional round of the playoffs. Sunday, January 19th, 2025. Yes, it is 2025, almost halfway through a month of it already. Game kicks off at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can watch it on CBS or Paramount Plus. According to the DraftKings Sportsbook, the Baltimore Ravens are currently favored by 1.5 points on the road, minus 118 on the money line. That means the Bills are 1.5 point home dogs. They're minus 102 on the money line. The game total is 51.5 points. As far as the weather, no real surprise here. It is going to be a cold one with a chance for snow. They're going to have temps in the teens during the game, might be dropping a little bit. Going to get some wind again. You might get a little bit of snow as we're recording this right now, late on Thursday. We don't know the forecast, so if you're doing any wagering, drafting stuff like that, make sure you check back in. Or if you're going to the game, you're going to want to bundle up, but you're going to want to check and see whether or not the white stuff is coming down from the sky. Let's get into the injury report. And thankfully, for once, it is not that long of a report. For the Ravens, they do have one big name on the list. Wide receiver Zay Flowers went out in the wild card round with the knee injury. He seemed closer to doubtful than questionable. As of right now, I'm not expecting him to suit up. For the Bills, we got some good news with our big returner here. Brandon Cordington missed the wild card game with a hamstring, but Sean McDermott says that he is good to go for the divisional round. So nice to get him back out there. Not so nice is Ray Davis, still in the concussion protocol. Seems to be doing well, but odds are at this point that he's not going to be able to clear the protocol by the time game rolls around here. So don't expect to have him, but we think we can get enough from James Cook, Ty Johnson. Maybe we'll even get to see Frank Gore Jr. in action on the rooster. Jamie G, any overall thoughts on the injury report, either the absence of Flowers for the Ravens or any of the thoughts on what the Bills will do at running back without Ray Davis?
This is the healthiest the Bills have been in a really long time. We said it last week in the wild card game, and luckily we came out of there with limited damage, not nothing. We lost Ray Davis. Look, I think Ray Davis is a big loss for the Bills. He's been a guy that they've leaned on all season, playing in that rotational role, and he's had a lot of success. He's been dynamic in the passing game. He's been really good running between the tackles, and he's been a good change of pace. However, I have confidence in Ty Johnson, and we saw Ty Johnson down the stretch last year in the playoffs, and as the season went on, he's got the experience. Between him and I think James Cook is a man possessed right now. I think we'll be okay. Wouldn't completely shock me if maybe they give Frank Gore Jr. a bump up just in case here, maybe rotate him in a little bit. But I think that they're okay with Ty Johnson and James Cook here. Nice to get Codrington back. He's this close to popping a big play all the time. Just need him to hold on to the football, but he's a weapon for us in the return game. I thought they did a really good job filling in for the return game last week with both Shakir and Ty Johnson and others. So I thought that went really well. Look, Zay Flowers, I think he's somebody that really impressed me. I was not as high on him coming into this season. He has absolutely made me eat my words. He's been fantastic. He is kind of their man beater. He is the guy that can get open, create space, big play after the catch type stuff. Not having him, I think, changes their offense some. Didn't seem to slow him down a whole hell of a lot against Pittsburgh, but I do think it changes their offense quite a bit.
Yeah, that will be a massive absence for them. Behind him, they are very, very thin at the wide receiver position. So, big up to Rashad Bateman, I guess, and Nelson Aguilar are probably going to be the two primary wide receivers. I think that's an area where you can definitely take advantage. That brings us to the keys. You know my keys. These are Jamie G's keys to victory for the Bills in the divisional round. Jamie G, tell us what the Bills need to do to ensure them walking away with the victory.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to be tight on these Mills, and we're gonna have to hit them, man. These are Jamie G's keys. Number one, we learned our lesson before. Do not fall behind by more than 10 points. And ideally, we don't want to play from behind at all. This team is built to play with a lead. But if that's not possible, 10 points, I think, needs to be the max here. Well, the Bills are certainly capable of coming back from a multiple score deficit. We cannot let the Ravens find their rhythm on the ground. The Ravens don't want to go tit for tat with the Bills in a shootout. They want to get a lead and just then run the rock. We can't let that happen. And that's really where we fell flat in the first game is before you knew it, it was 21-0. and they can't let that happen again in this one. Key number two, don't be afraid to mix up coverages on defense. The Bills have had a lot of success this season by playing their too high coverage shell with a bend but don't break philosophy. And yes, it's worked for the most part, but Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are perfectly suited to beat the too high. According to PFF, Jackson was the second best quarterback in the league against too high coverage shells. The Bills do need to show multiple looks before the snap and do their best to keep Jackson out of his comfort zone. It might require our cornerbacks to play on islands at times. They need to answer the call here against the Ravens team that will probably be trotting out Rashad Bateman as their number one wide receiver. I will say the Bills have shown over the last couple of games here more man coverage, and that's something that encourages me. Maybe that was something they were testing out in case they had to have this game again, and here it is, and hopefully that helps them get after and shore up the run game a little bit. Key number three, target the Ravens' weaknesses relentlessly. On defense, the Ravens have two notable weaknesses. One, their linebackers are not the greatest in coverage. We need to get the running backs and tight ends involved early and often on those mismatches. Number two, cornerback Brandon Stevens is their weakest link, at least in the passing game. He's really good against the run, but PFF ranks him as the 109th best cornerback in coverage out of 117 graded corners. He plays primarily on the outside, so it'll be Matt Collins, Keon Coleman, Amari Cooper going up against him, at least for the most part. They got to win that battle. Key number four, raise the paywall, give nothing away for free. There's never a good time for stupid turnovers, bad penalties, and special teams miscues, but this is literally the worst possible time to have any unforced errors. Margin of error in this game could be tiny, and we have to play like the disciplined, well-coached team that we are, period. Key number five, overthrow the king. That's right. You heard it here first. It's a mutiny, baby. We have to overthrow the king. You hate to put it all on one guy, but if Derrick Henry has a monster game, I think we're in trouble. We don't have to shut him down entirely, but you got to bottle him up. He gains power as the game wears on. We need to find a way to match his level of intensity. If he has to earn every single inch, we can probably live with 100 yards and a touchdown, but he can't have one of his patented long touchdown runs or 200 plus yards and two touchdowns. That just doesn't fare well for us.
Yeah, let them just pound it in the line over and over again. It's that breakaway speed. You saw it even the Steelers, it's like, oh, you're keeping them in check. You're keeping them in check. And then boom, there's 12 yards, there's 15, and then all of a sudden there's 50. And next thing you know, he is setting a record. So I think you got to come for the crown, man. I think that is where you at. The question is, will it happen? We're going to need some predictions here, Jamie G. We want to see you coming in hot, and we're going to do it Buffalo style. We like our predictions, like our wings, at various levels of heat. So generally we start, we got a mild, we got a medium, we got a hot. You can go past that if you're really pushing it, and it's a week, Jamie G. You're going to have to give us some predictions here. We're going to hold you to them. They're officially out there in the universe forever and ever and ever. What's going down this week, man? Coming in hot. Give us those predictions.
First off, Mills, I wish I could order a pizza and wings from Pesci's and get that refund. That's awesome. Shout out Pesci's, man. Way to do that. Now I'm hungry for wings. But let's go with mild. And mild is still going to have some heat, still going to have some flavor. Our mild for this one, for the divisional round, is the Bills will rush for more than 125 yards as a team. Baltimore has allowed exactly one team to rush for more than 125 yards against them this season. That team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles put up 140 rushing yards in a 24-19 victory over the Ravens. The math isn't that complicated. All right, we have to let James Cook for 70 plus yards, 75 plus yards, pencil Josh Allen in for a 50 burger, and now we got a stew going. Breaking off the chunk plays in the running game would be great, but we just need to stay balanced here and on schedule. That means third and medium or fourth and short. That's where we've had success. Do not sleep on the contribution from our guy, Ty Johnson. Once again, I love Ty. I think he's in line for a big game. So we're coming in real hot with that mild. Medium, the Bills will hold the Ravens wide receivers to less than 75 receiving yards. Look, there's no question that the Ravens can beat you through the air with their running backs and tight ends. They did it to us in week 3. That being said, without Zay Flowers, the Ravens have probably the weakest wide receiver group in the playoffs, and we need to use that to our advantage. Bateman, he can beat you deep, and Aguilar is certainly crafty, but outside of that, there's not a ton to worry about, at least on paper. If the Bills cornerbacks can hold up against the Ravens wide receivers without help over the top and that two shell safety look, we can go that can go a long way towards shutting down the Ravens rushing attack. More bodies in the box to help slow that run game down. Coming in hot, Mills. I'm talking scorching. Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper combined for 150 plus receiving yards and at least one touchdown. Yeah, I said it. The Bills wide receivers are going to have to win on the outside, or life's going to be very difficult for our running game. Both players have had their moments, but it's time for them to shine. Right now, the lights are the brightest, baby, and it matters the most. Let's get it. We've been patient. It is now time for them to help us take our passing game to the next level. That's why we brought in Amari Cooper. That's why we drafted Keon Coleman. This is your time. Now, just for fun, when you're in Buffalo, you get the medium, the milds, the hots, and then you get the crazy hot, the suicides. These are like scorched earth, so hot. Because it's a playoffs, we're going to go ahead and throw one in there. The Bills will score 30 plus points and hold the Ravens to under 100 rushing yards. Yeah, I told you. This is so hot. It's off the charts hot. All right. My mouth is burning. I'm sweating saying it. The Ravens have failed to eclipse 100 rushing yards in only one game this season. Their 35-34 shutout win on Thursday Night Football over the Bengals. They gave up 30 plus points three times this season, twice to the Bengals and just once to the Bucks. If the Bills can turn this game into a shootout, it should play into our hands. The Ravens had at least 220 rushing yards in each of their past three games. That's insane. They haven't had less than 166 rushing yards in a game in their last six. This is a big one, Mills. It's going to be hard. I think if we can get 2 out of 4 or 3 out of 4, we could be in business.
Yeah, I mean it's suicide. Haven't you seen how strong he is? Yeah, that's what you need when you was at the Scoville scale or whatever, what they use to measure like the crazy hot peppers and the hot sauces or whatever. Yeah, it's generally don't do suicide unless you don't have anything to do for the next couple of days or something like that.
It's
Suicide
too
is a
hot.
level
You got to
that
sign a waiver, Mills. You got to sign an
yeah,
insurance
they call
waiver.
it suicide for like it literally if your hand just gets close to it and it starts burning without even touching it. Yeah, that's a sign that you're in for the hot one there. All right, man. Let's have a little bit of fun with it here. I want you to go ahead, pull out your dream board, and manifest some Mafia magic for us. Give us your dream scenario for the game, and no, it doesn't involve the Ravens' entire team getting the flu.
No, but no. Okay, my dream scenario here is, look, the Bills show up at home. Bills Mafia influences this game, and the Bills have one of those games where it's like, man, I don't see how they're going to win, but then they show you how, and they do it. And I'm talking about stopping Derrick Henry. I'm talking about slowing down Lamar Jackson, forcing him into bad decisions, and offensively doing exactly what we've done all year, and that's be dominant, spread the football around, and get to 30 points or more, Mills. And what would make this even better than winning and coming out clean and doing it in front of our hometown fans is Derrick Henry saying, you know what? I wish I could come and play with you, Josh Allen. And Lamar Jackson saying, you know what? I'm not cool enough to hang out with you. That's why we don't hang out in the off seasons. And you know what? You deserve the MVP, Josh, because he does. And that is that, baby. End of the day, let's just get this win, please. Manifesting it.
And then you could take Jerry Coleman and make him go through the streets of Buffalo, Cersei Lannister style, yeah, when he gets the shame bells and everything like that. I think that
Oh,
would be
Mills, that's the icing on the cake. That's a
that would be a
real
very fitting ending. I think all the tailgating people would have fun just following him down as you kind of wind your way back towards the thruway. Maybe we'll leave right from the stadium. He won't even have to make it downtown. We'll just go right through Orchard Park. It'll be a good time. They'll
Make him
enjoy that
walk
one.
through Hammerlot. That's all I want. Just walk through Hammerlot and yeah, see what happens.
Yeah, all right. We've discussed a fair amount here. Is there anything else in particular about this matchup you would like to touch on that we haven't mentioned yet?
Well, I think the one thing we didn't touch on here is coaching. I really want to see Sean McDermott, Bobby Babich on defense have a plan here that works. At times we've seen them have plans that work. At other times it's like, what are we doing? I hope they don't think they can just do the same thing they've done all year the first time they played them and hope it works. And offensively, I really want to see, a lot of talk about Joe Brady and what he's done and will he get a head coaching job? You want one? Now's your chance. You've got one of the best athletes to ever play the game in Josh Allen. You've got a good offense. Figure out a way to attack this Ravens defense where we can have success. And it's not just about the X's and O's. We know it's about the Jimmies and the Joes, but I want the game plan to be there. And I want the in coaching battle and the in coaching adjustments to be relevant, whether that's quarterly, whether that's at halftime. We've been outstanding in the second half of games this year. Let's see that continue. Let's see the coaching staff win this one as well.
I think that is an excellent call there. It's now, it's that time. It's time to earn the chops, earn the respect, and on to the next one. Hopefully, that's the goal. And it's also our goal to make a couple of bucks while we're watching the Bills games, and we try to do that a couple ways, most notably with our Bills bets. On the season, we are in the green. We're up about 97 Bills bucks. Jamie G is leading the way. He's up about 269. On our collaborative wagers, our tripods, our three-leg single game parlays, we are up 25 Bills bucks, and I am currently behind. I am down about 197, but I'm going to turn it around this week, get all the way into the green because Jamie G, I'm going to try and do what you did. I remember you knocking out the Dawson Knox anytime touchdown scorer. I'm going to call my shot here. I'm going to take Amari Cooper as an anytime touchdown scorer. That is plus 450. So 100 Bills bucks would bring you back 550. Well in the green. We talked about he's got the matchup out there, and he's got a lot longer odds than Coleman. His odds are basically twice as long as Coleman here. So that's why I went with Mr. Cooper. I'm trying to hang out with him. Jamie G, are you going back to the well with James Cook or Josh Allen here? What's your Bills bet for the divisional round?
Mills, I am going to ride or die with my guy. He's been good to me all year. You know I love him, and I think it's capable of him doing this and doing it. He has to, right? I mean, for the Bills to win, he's got to pretty much make this happen. So I'm going to take Josh Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You mentioned some of the weakness on the outside with the Ravens. Let's hope he attacks it and we see some touchdowns out of that. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns is minus 120. 100 Bills bucks there. 100 cricket coins to win 183.
You got to go with your guy at this point. It was just a matter of whether it was going to be the James Cook or the Josh Allen. They are Mr. Dependable for you. Now we have what we call a tripod. This is a three-leg single game parlay. We've got three legs. We're going to use them. Jamie G, we're going to go with Amari Cooper, not to find the end zone, just to get over his yardage receiving prop. That's over 21 and a half receiving yards, minus 115 on its own. Leg number two, we're going to go to Keon Coleman, say he's going to be involved, getting 5+ targets here. We're going to take Keon Coleman to have 3+ receptions. That is plus 200 on its own. And finally, we're going to mix it in here. He's still in the kitchen doing his thing. James Cook, anytime touchdown scorer, that is plus 105 on its own. You put these three together, Amari Cooper over 21 and a half yards, Keon Coleman 3+ receptions, James Cook anytime touchdown scorer, your odds are plus 1,000. So 100 Bills bucks would bring you back 1,100. And that might even help you get rid of some of those nagging bills from that old holiday shopping that are still kicking around that you keep putting down the road a little bit. And if you're also looking to make a little bit money on DraftKings, we have some picks over there for the Showdown contest. We call these our DraftJoshes because on the Mafia Minute, Josh Allen is the only one true king. So no real surprise here. Our favorite overall captain play is Josh Allen. He is 17,100 in your captain spot. If you wanted to go absolutely nuts, you're not getting enough a deal on James Cook to do it. If you want to go crazy, maybe go down, put Keon Coleman at captain. It would only be $5,400, but then you can pretty much play just about everybody else you want. If he could have 5 receptions for 80 yards and a touchdown, and you get all the other right pieces in there, you might find that it works for you. It's a game where you need to save some salary. So if you want to get nuts in one of those contests with 150+ entries people are allowed to put in, that's a guy you could think about going to. And if you want to save some money, obviously Keon Coleman would be a great value as a flex play. He's only $3,600. We also like Ty Johnson at 4,400, assuming that Ray Davis is going to be out. He could definitely be involved in both the rushing and passing games. And if you want to go down to the very bottom here, you got Matt Collins at 3,200. We've seen him be targeted in the red zone occasionally, got some good size, got a decent matchup, won't catch a ton of passes, but if he gets in the end zone at 3,200, that's about all you need. And if you really just want to throw a punt play in there, assuming he's active, Frank Gore Jr. is a stone cold minimum at $200. Even if he gets 0, that allows you to do so many other things with your lineup that it's certainly worth going down that road a little bit. I don't like playing guys that aren't active. You could just play a $200 player who's not playing, but I like to have at least a chance that the guy could score a couple points. So something to keep an eye on. And this is a game where you're going to have some pieces on the other side. You literally have to play at least one Raven according to the rules, but they do have a couple of decent options. Most notably, Lamar Jackson. He's 11,800 in your flex. He's been hyper productive all season. You have to think at least him or Derrick Henry has a game here. Henry is just about in that same range as well. If you wanted to go in a tournament, get a little bit funky with it, you could play the other tight end, Isaiah Likely. He is only $5,600. Could see him more involved with Flowers out. And then a good value play. We saw him do it to the Bills once. Justice Hill, the backup running back there, fairly heavily involved in the passing game, only $4,800. And if you wanted to go with a punt play on the Ravens side, again, without Zay Flowers, you could maybe look at Tylan Wallace. He's only $1,000. We've seen him have a couple of big plays this year. He's really kind of a one-trick pony with the deep threat, but again, for $1,000, you don't have to do a lot. And if you're pairing him up, obviously we like putting Josh Allen and captain. Probably try to get Dalton and Cade in there. He's another nice value this week. Maybe get Cooper or Coleman in there. Run it back on the other side with Lamar Jackson or Derrick Henry if you want to go that way. And again, probably sticking mostly with Allen and captain unless you want to gamble on one of the receivers, Cooper or Coleman. Good week for that. Try to work in Ty Johnson. Maybe throw in Justice Hill if you're thinking it's going to be kind of a big shootout, that kind of thing. So just a few ideas for you over on DK this week. Good luck. It's a big set of contests available. Maybe the biggest pot they have for the whole weekend because it is the final game of the wild card round. So lots of options. Register for those contests early. Jamie G, the final order of business is for you to give your final score prediction. As usual, I'm pretty sure I know who you're going to pick to win, but the question, as always, is by how much?
Mills, I am taking the Bills here. I've got the Bills 31, Baltimore 28.
He likes the 31. I feel like it was the 31 last week and you hit on it. So now he's just playing straight 31s now. He's just walking up to the roulette wheel and just getting down on 31 like it's Wesley Snipes playing black.
Always bet on black. Yeah, I'm going 31-28. Go Bills, man. That's it. That's it.
Nice little over there. That sounds like it would be a fun game to watch with the outcome we like. So we enjoyed all that. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of the Mafia Minute. We will be back next week, rain or shine, to review the game. We will be here. It will end the way we want because we believe in the power of positive thinking. Thank you very much for checking out the Mafia Minute presented by Seize the Gap Fantasy Football. Once again, you can find our content wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Find us on social media at Seize the Gap FF and on the web at mafiaminute.com. Simple and easy to remember, just like the flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please make sure that you've hit the thumb. I'm Magnum Mills here with Jamie G, who is going to get you fired up, like ready to dive through three tables and run through a wall level of fired up for this Bills game on Sunday. Jamie G, take it away.
This is it, Bills Mafia. This is divisional round. We haven't gotten past it the last 2 years. That changes Sunday at 6:30, baby. This is our time. Yeah, we lost to the Ravens early in the season. That's old news. I'm tired of hearing about it. This is a different Bills team. This is a different focus. This is a different time of year. I think they're ready for this. I think they're welcoming the challenge. And I think somehow, some way, you got to believe, baby, because the Bills are going to find a way. Be loud, be crazy, Bills Mafia. Do what you do and impact the game. And I cannot wait to celebrate this one with you on the flip side. It's going to take all of us. It's going to take every single play we've got. And it's going to take maybe a smidge of luck. But hopefully, it's all on our side. Go Bills. Love you guys. We'll see you on the flip.